like I said, I am just so excited to be here today. Hi, my name is Helen. I am support the Central Oregon Community College Center for Business. More on that later with their program delivery. I've been there just about a year. Before that, I operated and owned a small business selling rocks and minerals from Oregon. So when I was approached, I do some work with Ben Chamber Emerging Talent, which is a young professionals organization. I would encourage all of you to check out their programming. But I met Michelle there, and she encouraged me to come check out Kiwanis, and they reached out later and asked me to speak, and I was super flattered. I'm really excited to be here. But they didn't give me a topic. They said, you can talk about whatever you want. And so I was like, okay. And I didn't think about it again for a month, if I'm being honest, and I thought in September, okay, I better come up with something for this presentation. And I thought it would be really interesting to talk about my work in rock hounding and talk about how that really inspired me to think about community economic development in Central Oregon. You know, and it's a connection I hadn't really made until I thought critically about what to present here today. And I think it really, honestly, it helped me out understanding where I'm going in my life. But I hope it really inspires you to think about how workforce training and business development services are really critical to community resilience here. So with that, rock hounding and rural economy in Central Oregon. Does this work? I don't know if this works. I think I'm just gonna have to click the button on the computer. That's fine. So a little bit about me. I am a lifelong Oregonian. I grew up in Portland. So just the other side of the mountains there. Unlike a lot of people, I did not grow up visiting Central Oregon. My family, no winter sports in my family. We mostly stayed on our side of the valley, but that changed when I started the rocks. In college, I went up to University of Puget Sound in Tacoma for college, and I started off in biology because I liked the idea of doing research, loved plants, loved the natural world and all of that. But when the pandemic hit, I realized I wanted to pursue something a little bit more directly oriented to the community and having a real world impact. So I added economics, and I ended up graduating with that. Like I said, I love plants, I love skiing. I got into winter sports as an adult. I'm really bad at it, but I have a great time. Here's my horse. He's a Warmblood. He's 27. And this is me on an office chair outside of my office. I was trying to get rid of this chair. I did find someone to get rid of this chair. So that's a little bit about me. So I know there are a lot of rock hounds in the room. So I'm going to start off this talk talking about rock hounding in Oregon and where you can go. And then I'm going to do an abrupt pivot to workforce training at COCC. Does that sound good to everybody? Perfect. I think I'll shift the order a little bit, though. Let me see. Okay. So after college, I started it in college, but maybe in 2022, I finally started traveling to Central Oregon because I had an idea. I loved rocks and minerals. I'd grown up rock hounding, weirdly not in Central Oregon, always in the valley. I don't know why I never came out here. But I realized that there might be a market in Oregon for rocks and minerals that were found locally. Like at the time, like 2022, local market was all the rage. Everything you want your produce local, you want your goods local, clothes made locally. So I was like, why not rocks? Don't people want local rocks? Like, well, let's see. So I thought, where could I get these rocks from? And if you didn't know, Oregon is a geological paradise for rocks. There are jaspers, slender eggs, agates, petrified wood littered throughout the state, particularly in Central Oregon. And so it really was just a matter of networking and finding those spots where people have collected rocks before. We didn't do a lot of mining, digging, anything like that because we wanted to be sustainable, reduce impact. So we came up with this idea to have reclaimed rocks, aka rocks that had been mined a long time ago and are just sitting around collecting dust. So we would go to museums, like the Rice Rock Museum, people's personal collections. Many of you, if I was still doing rocks, I may approach you about your rock collection, trying to buy it off you. Or a lot of the time, estates where someone passes away, they were an avid rock hound, their family is not so much an avid rock hound. They're like, I don't want this stuff. What do I do with the stuff? So that is how we sourced a lot of our material. But it really brought me all throughout Central and Eastern Oregon. I've been to almost every community there, and I just loved it so much that I had to move here after that, doing that for 2 years in college. And wanted to come out here. These jaspers, can anyone identify these jaspers you see here on the screen? You will after this talk. This is, they're both jaspers from the Oregon Oahe Canyonlands area. This is morrisonite jasper. We've used a saw to cut it into slices that reveal the pattern inside. This is a really cool rock. We got it from a collection out in Prineville. This is a more common jasper found also in the Oahes called desert rose jasper. And they're both forms of landscape jasper, which as we look towards those beautiful mountains, I just love landscape and picture jaspers because they literally resemble our landscape here in Central Oregon. They're pretty cool. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about responsible rock hounding. So like I said, Oregon is a rock hounding paradise. It is amazing. You can probably go outside on this golf course, dig a hole, and find something interesting. Please don't. Don't do that. I think I'll never be allowed back, but you could. Probably. I mean, the whole area, after the Newberry eruption, it covered itself with basalt, and out of the basalt, sometimes there are cavities that fill with water over millions of years and form agates and jaspers and thunder eggs and all kinds of cool stuff. That's why we have such a diversity of rocks and minerals here in Central Oregon. And the definition of rock hounding, which I did not know until I made this presentation, is the search for and collection of rocks and minerals by amateurs, as in not trying to make money, not trying to buy or sell. I guess I'm not a rock hound, but you all are and can be, just for fun, going out there for fun. And there are some ways to rock hound responsibly, and there are ways to rock hound irresponsibly. And like with community, since this group is so focused on civic engagement, community service, I thought you would appreciate some tips for rock hounding ethically, safely, and responsibly. So all rock hounding is rock taking. When you take a rock away from its environment, it cannot be put back in our lifetimes, or it will take millions and millions of years to replace that material, and it will never truly be the same. So when you're out, it's tempting to fill bucket after bucket after bucket, and people often do, but just be mindful of what you need, what you're actually going to use and treasure in your home after your trip. And when you look for rocks, try to always fill in holes from digging. That is a really big thing. People don't, if you go out, I have some locations I'm going to share with all of you via links. I have a whole resource page that I'm going to share after this presentation. When you go out to any of those sites, you'll see holes and holes and holes and holes and trip hazards and everything because people don't fill in their holes. It's very important. And yeah, if you find an artifact, leave it in place as per federal guidance, but just also it's the right thing to do to leave artifacts in place. At this time, I would love to take some questions about rock hounding because I want to know what people are interested in. Yes, over there.
How do you know if you should take something a rock that you find versus leaving it in its natural habitat? Because I know rock hounding, you said it's mostly rock taking, but sometimes I feel like you shouldn't.
Well, you can't take anything from, I never take anything from national forest, like federally designated recreation land. You're really not supposed to. National and state parks are also a big no-no for taking rock. You can't do that. But Oregon, Central Oregon is filled with BLM land, and you can take whatever you want. You can take whatever you want. That's why I'm like, you can take whatever you want. Please don't. So yeah, you can take anything from, and also national forest land is pretty, you can take things from there too. I have some sites that are in Ochoco Forest. Yeah, right there.
Do you all have classes at COCC for rock?
We don't. I wish we did. I feel like it would be the community education department, and I'll get into that. I have my card and some contacts. So if anyone wants to voice their enthusiasm for having such classes, I will relay that to COCC. I think it's something they do if there's interest. But also the rock club. Yeah, right there.
So you said leave artifacts, so would that be like arrowhead?
Yeah, like any arrowhead or like I found like a mortar and pestle out there, which is pretty cool. Scrapers, like you can look all you want. You're not supposed to take it unless you're like there on business, university business, whatever. I mean, again, people take it all the time. I go to people's houses to buy rocks and I see like this wall of artifacts. I'm like, oh, cool. But you're really not supposed to.
Okay, so just rocks.
Just rocks, yep. Sometimes they look kind of similar, but like, if you know it's an artifact, don't take it. Yeah, right there.
Do you ever host tours, guided tours?
I've, been thinking about it. I have someone on my resource page that does host tours. Her name's Allison Jean Cole. I was approached about that this spring and I wanted to do it. And then it turns out, rightfully so, the BLM requires an 18-month licensing period before you can take people out. They let you have to do this whole process. There's this gal that's already doing that called Allison Jean Cole. I have her linked at the end of the presentation. But great question. Let's see, where are we doing on time? What are we at? Okay, perfect. I have room for like one more rock-related question. Yeah, right there.
We went out on a hike at Paulina Lake.
Yeah.
And there's obsidian all over the place.
Yeah.
Like you could trip on it. We were realizing this is not really a safe hike. Now those are ones that you don't want to take, right?
Well, obsidian at Paulina Lake, you could. I don't know about taking it at Paulina Lake. Central Oregon, because of the Newberry eruption, is just littered with obsidian. It's just volcanic magma that's cooled quickly and turned into glass. So it's literally everywhere. My favorite place to get obsidian is actually at Glass Buttes down Highway 20. If you drive 40 minutes down Highway 20 and go to the right, there's two buttes. They're called Glass Buttes. They're literally made of obsidian. It's in the road. It's everywhere you go. You can just take, you can pick, it's everywhere. What's fun is that there are like 5 or 6 varieties of the obsidian found there. You can look for different kinds. Thing is though, you need to either accept that you might pop one of your tires or park your car and hike in because the road is covered with obsidian and it's quite sharp. Yes. But that site is linked too at the end of the presentation. I'll send that all out. All right. So we're gonna start the transition. I try to smooth the transition and just talk about my journey and how I went from selling rocks and traveling all around Oregon and selling rocks online to workforce training. And I think it's gonna make sense. I hope so. If it doesn't, please tell me. So, yeah, the way that this business worked was by going and buying rocks from people who could not, would not, or did not want to sell rocks online, but they had these huge collections. They were motivated to, get some extra money for it. Maybe they were involved in the local mining rock hounding community, but they weren't doing online sales, or they were, and they just have so much stuff that they're willing to sell some off to us. And then we would turn around and sell online on a variety of platforms to the collector market, which really embraced rock from Oregon. There's a big market for, say, like jewelry, cabochon makings, lapidary, just general collection. People want to have the rare rock. People want to have it because it looks really cool. They connect with it. It looks like a landscape, whatever it may be. So selling that market online. And I think it was really cool that we focused only on rock from Oregon because it really allowed me to get to know the community in Central Oregon and Eastern Oregon and develop some connections. That was really meaningful. But while I was doing that work for 18 months prior to working at COCC, I noticed some challenges in our community in Central Oregon. I'm sure you're all familiar with these challenges. I won't be up here and be like, I know what's going on and you don't. We all know about these challenges that I've listed here. The rising cost of housing, rising cost of living creates homelessness in our community. Accessing education and healthcare in communities, especially outside of Bend, is very challenging. And there's a phenomenon in economics called brain drain, where our youth and young adults leave the area because they do not have enough job opportunity or opportunity to advance their education locally. So it creates these areas where it's like sink areas where talent is leaving and not being replaced. So I just noticed that because I was going to people's homes, going to businesses, going to mines, and just hearing verbally, anecdotally, witnessing the aftermath of all three going on here. And it really, with my economics education, it really caused me to want to get involved and make a positive difference in those communities. I was raised in a household, very privileged to admit that I was raised in a household that really put a high value on education. My mom is a professor. She is like, there's never a question that I was going to pursue my education as an adult, no matter what form that looked like. But I also realized that in Central Oregon, the opportunity for higher education is limited and sometimes doesn't align with workforce training pipelines that exist, such as pipelines to industry, healthcare, other things like that. So I was thinking, creatively about how in my career I could make a difference doing that, and I landed on workforce training as a really great solution to community development. Because, so raise your hand if you've heard the term workforce training before. Okay, cool. I won't deliberate that. Sometimes like people don't know, and you have to say, you know, this is what it is. But it's just creating a resilient workforce in the community through, you know, post-secondary skills training, professional development, business advising, etc. And what's really great is that it creates more resilient communities through a variety of ways. One is that education programs and workforce training are often offered for certificate or non-credit, meaning that you do not have to enroll in college to access these trainings. It also means that on our side, you know, credit trainings at the college can take years, if not a decade, to get approved through the state of Oregon. Non-credit is much more flexible. So if we see a need in the community and there's a need for skills and workers, we can develop programs that address those challenges and create job opportunities for the community to align with industry need. I thought that was really cool. It also equips individual small businesses and organizations to upskill, which is great. It helps address that issue of people leaving for opportunity if we can get it done here locally and create reasons for people to stay. The other thing too we do a lot of at COCC is professional development and leadership training, which I think is just so important to have people succeed in their careers, develop as leaders. That really helps retain talent in Central Oregon and creates a business environment where organizations and industry want to have their businesses here rather than move away. Does anyone have any questions about that at this time? Okay. So, okay, then maybe that, I feel like that wasn't a super hard pivot. I feel like so now we're fully talking about COCC. So, last September, I started working at Central Oregon Community College at their Center for Business. Where are my pictures? Pretend there's a picture of like really happy people in a classroom. Like they're so happy, you guys, taking leadership training, and there's a picture of our very own Keith Sherrill giving business advising to someone. I just pretend, because we don't have it. But at the Center for Business, we were established a couple years ago to address the community need for upskilling, talent retention, and job opportunity in Central Oregon. And we do that through the America's SPDC Central Oregon chapter, which offers free business advising services. I used this services when I was doing my rock hounding business, and I sold my rock hounding business in June, and I relied heavily on Sue Meyer, who probably many of you know. She's amazing. She helped me navigate that. It's like for free, right here in our community. So that's just wonderful. We also do custom professional development trainings for organizations and teams. So if you at work, maybe like you got this person that's just hard to work with, or maybe it's you're hard to work with, or maybe your team has a goal and you're trying to address that goal, and maybe, you know, it would be better if you worked on yourselves and your team cohesiveness towards that goal. It really helps. You know, leadership training is a 7-in-1 return on investment in organizations, so it's super powerful, and we try to make it really fun. We do that. Any organization, nonprofit, public, private, can reach out to us at this contact and get something set up. We're really excited to work with you. The third thing that we do is license and certification training. So think about pesticide applicator training, real estate license, education, just like all kinds of things. Renewable energies, we did a solar boot camp in June. Our program manager, Amy, she works so hard in license certification. She has like 15 different topics to manage her programs, and she does an amazing job. So HR certification, any kind of certification, you name it, we probably have it or can develop it. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us there at that contact if that sounds like you. Or otherwise, I hope that you found this valuable.
Definitely. And the instructors are great.
Oh, the instructors are great. They're great. Thank you. Yes. Who have you met?
Oh my gosh, I used to work for Ben Chamber, so very
Oh.
involved. And
Oh my
a lot
gosh.
of those things, so
What did you do at Chamber?
raising money.
Oh, development.
For that
So important.
program,
So important for
COCC
emerging
was
talent.
a big supporter.
Yes. I'm on the AAC for the emerging talent right now, and so I do a lot of like, the Chamber's always like, what, can you help us at COCC? And COCC's like, can you work with the Chamber? I'm like, yes, you can try. I love the Chamber, they're incredible too. So well, that's all I had prepared for you all, but I'm happy to take any questions. I wanted to have a lot of time for that as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I have a question. So maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the challenges about running these programs and how many people do you serve and that kind of thing.
Sure. So as of this year's count, we have administered over 80 unique workforce training programs just this year, like across at least 15 different industries. We've served dozens of organizations that are local to Bend and Central Oregon through professional development and leadership training. Also, twice a year, we do a public sector specific leadership and development training opportunity. We give them a catalog and host training specifically made for public sector organizations. So we try to have broad outreach in that way. The biggest challenge of delivering these programs effectively is it requires buy-in and support from so many different community stakeholders, including the Chamber, East Cascade Works, the rest of the college, which is sometimes a little bit siloed from non-credit training programs, and the organizations themselves. We need to get out there, put our name out there, and show that we are a resource here at the community college. And just day to day, I mean, it can be the scheduling and having people come campus and just making sure that trainings remain high quality, whether it's like, emotional intelligence for executives or, laws and safety, pesticide recertification. Managing both in one office can be a little bit challenging. Did I see a question?
I was a junior high.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, question?
When's the Madras campus slated to be? I know this.
Oh gosh. We had a couple. Okay, I don't know what I don't know a whole ton about that. I know that we had a couple setbacks this year due to some funding shortfall. They are, God, the president just. I feel like that would be on the website. I don't know if they've published a deadline completion date just yet. I'm really hoping it's the end of soon.
Is there going to be an expansion, or has there been any talks of expanding the Center for Business there?
Oh, that's a great question. I can talk about that. Okay, yes. So we are planning to take full advantage of the Madras campus. There are available classrooms we can use right now. We're doing a customized Excel training there this fall. So there's a computer lab there, classrooms. Like if an organization is based in Madras and wants Madras, we can deliver trainings in Madras. Another thing we'll be doing this on December 9 is a AI essentials training. It teaches people how to interact with AI, like ChatGPT, and begin to. No, it's not Justin. It's Carly Pomeroy at the college. She's an communications instructor. Justin's great though. So we're gonna do that. I had an idea to live stream those trainings on the Madras and Prineville campuses to increase access and provide computer access too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, thank you. Super.
We'd like to take pictures.
Oh, pictures.
Picture.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Getting this wonderful gift.
Oh, gift.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't know there'd be a gift. Oh my gosh.
We keep that a
Thank
secret.
you. That is so sweet. I appreciate it. I feel like there's something I was forgetting about. Oh, I have some business cards in my purse if anyone wants one. Perfect. Okay, I'll go get them.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.